All right, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Today's practice is all about standing strong. So we'll be strengthening the lower back using a lot of standing postures, but we will also stretch and move on the floor with some relaxation at the end. I like to start these Saturday morning classes, these complete practices when we have this extra time, with a little relaxed breathing, which is just observing the breath, and I'll guide you through that in a moment. And then a very brief opportunity for some meditation, if you like, and then we'll start moving. So you're welcome. I don't subscribe to the meditation channel that says you have to sit cross-legged with your hands like this. So you can be lying down, you can be sitting against a wall, you can be standing up and swaying if you have some energy and you've been up for a little while. So wherever you want to be, start settling into yourself, and that's a process. It's not a destination. So maybe you're swaying a little bit in your seat. Maybe you're looking around you at the space that you're in. And if it feels good, you can take your hands onto the body, maybe onto your legs or onto your heart or belly. And you're welcome to keep the eyes open for as long as you like. At some point, the eyes might tire and want to close. And take these next few moments to simply greet yourself. Say hello to all the sensations you're aware of. Welcome any thoughts, feelings. And continue this friendly attitude towards yourself. And if you like, bring your awareness to your breath. Simply observing your inhales and your exhales and all the moments in between. I think the hardest part about relaxed breathing is to actually not try to manipulate the breath. So for me, I usually start sort of feeling like I want to breathe in and I want to breathe out, and I'm helping myself breathe, even though I know deep down inside my body knows how to do it. And then perhaps after a few minutes, it gets easier to put myself outside of the action and watch it happen naturally. And for most people, a natural breath has a certain count for an inhale and a slightly longer count for the exhale. So if that's something you want to tune into or notice if that's true for yourself, especially over time, the exhale can get longer as we relax more. And remember, the practice is to observe, not to push or judge. Allow your breath to be whatever it is this morning. And you may continue to simply observe your breath if you're enjoying that activity. Continue to welcome whatever your experience is in each moment. And if you like, perhaps open up a doorway into meditation. By holding in your mind something that you really love or enjoy. It could be an activity that you love to do, swimming, for example. It could be a place that you love or a spot you like to sit in at a certain time of day. Maybe it's a person or your pet. And as you hold this thing that you love in your mind, notice what, if anything, changes about your experience. The sensations you feel, the thoughts or stories that start to play in your mind. Any emotions or desires. Sometimes it's just a change of the temperature on your skin or the feeling in your belly. And welcome all of it. Be gentle with yourself. Notice where you are, whether it's a deep inner place or remembering your seat and your body here. And usually after some relaxed breathing and meditation, our posture tends to get a little slumpier, which is totally normal, but you might have the urge to kind of stretch or straighten out. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me. And then we'll start to move. I'm going to move back here. And if you have a strap or something you can use, like a strap, like a scarf, we'll use that towards the end of practice. If you have one or two blocks or something like a book that you can hold on to, those would be helpful as well. Don't worry if you don't have them, but if you do, they could be useful a little bit later. For now, go ahead and straighten out the legs. You might even iron them out a little bit if they were folded underneath you during that breathing and meditation. And then lean back, bend the knees, and swish the knees from side to side. Now remember, your body is different than mine and different than everybody else's. So if there's anything ever that just doesn't feel good, make it your own. Change it up. The next time your knees fall over to one side, walk your hands around, kind of to face behind you or behind where your legs were pointing in a bit of a twist. Now, this is where I like to use my hands against the floor and wiggle my side body to lengthen each side a little bit longer. Some of you may want to or feel comfortable bring the elbows down towards the floor. And wherever your legs are will change how this feels too. So you can bring them closer together, or you can kick that top leg back behind you to feel even more of a side body stretch. Just waking up the torso. And then when you feel good about that side, swing the legs around to the other side. And let's try it over there. So walk the hands around. Notice what feels different about this experience, this side of the body. And then maybe you wiggle, maybe you pause, maybe you notice how the breath gets redirected as you twist. And if on this side, elbows to the floor feels good, you can explore that. When you feel good about that side, unwind yourself. Bring the legs out in front like we started. But take one leg out to the side. It doesn't matter, we'll get to both sides. Knee bent out to the side. If your hip doesn't like that external rotation, you can kind of kick it out of your way. But having the knee bent will be helpful again in a moment. And then walk your hands over the leg and take a very gentle fold towards the extended leg. You might just be waking up the back body, so hands on the floor can be great. And then walk your hands back up towards your hip and turn towards the bent knee so that you can plant your hands on either side and kind of help yourself up onto your shin. So now you're on your knee, reach the same side hand back behind you and take a big side body stretch. It's a side angle, a side plank variation with your knee down. But the point here is the big stretch. And then lower yourself back down to sit and switch legs. So extend the other leg out, bring the other knee out to the side, and take a gentle fold over the extended leg. See if you can surrender a bit to gravity. Notice it's pulling you towards the earth. And then try that same side stretch. Swivel yourself over onto your other knee. Plant your hand to support and stretch that side body. If you want, you can make circles with the arm. It doesn't have to be a static movement. And then escort your bum back down and switch the legs again to your first side. So option to do this again in a nice, slow, sweet movement. If you'd rather make a little bit of a flow out of it, you can sweep your arms out to the sky and then over the extended leg. Slide the hands up the leg, turn towards your bent knee, and come on up to that side body stretch, the side plank variation. And then sit yourself back down, switch sides, other leg extends, sweep the arms to the sky and over the leg. So there's a little bit more movement here. Take your time as you move around between positions. You might try that a couple of times, switching the legs each time you come down. Do one last one. Nice. And extend both legs out. Reach the hands towards the sky and take a gentle fold, sweep towards the toes. Slide the hands up each leg and bring the hands behind you. Press into the floor and lift the chest a little bit. You might look at your toes, or if you like, push into the hands further and lift the bum any amount. Drive the toenails forward towards the front of your space. This is our first little back strengthening. Sit the bum back down, reach the arms to the sky and fold. If you'd rather stay in the fold for a little bit, fine. Otherwise, we'll continue this flow. Option, if you didn't like the straight leg version of upward plank, you can bend your knees and come into upward table. I find this actually much more strengthening for my legs and my low back. I feel more feeling, so it's up to you. So whatever version you're doing, try maybe one or two more of these flows, waking up the body from foot to hand. You can switch up which variation you're doing or keep your bum down on the floor. All right, from here, next time your bum is on the ground, find your sits bones, bend your knees and hold on to the backs of the thighs for a little bit of boat pose to wake up the abdominals. So you can leave your toes on the ground. This will be strengthening right in here. Or you can play with lifting one foot, the other foot. You could do the can here and switch feet or hold both feet off the floor for just a moment. Notice how even though there's some feelings in the belly muscles, it wraps all the way around. So feel your chest move towards your thighs. Nice. When you've had enough, lower the feet, let the knees come wide for butterfly pose, and relax the inner legs and belly muscles. Gently fold forward any amount. All right, when you're ready, come on up and swing around onto hands and knees. And start to move around here. So this is a new position for your body this morning, probably. It's nice to get used to how it feels like to be on the hands. Sometimes I'll even do a little walking on my hands and different parts of the hand. So on the insides of each of the fingers, the outside edges of the pinkies, the backs of the hands, and I'm keeping the weight in my legs, but just letting my hands touch the earth. It's almost like telling my nervous system, like, this is safe, this is okay, and I'm in charge of how much weight. All right. Pause any of those arm movements and start moving through cat and cow with your back rounding. And then release, or if you like, arch slightly and look forward. And go back and forth between that rounded cat back and neutral or cow belly. Nice. When you feel complete with that, steady yourself onto both hands and lift your left hand to the sky. Sweep it underneath you into a halfway twist. So you're going to reach the hand across between the other hand and knee that are on the floor, and then unwind and sweep it to the sky again. Try that a few more times. Nice. And then pause and switch sides. So lift the other hand to the sky, sweep. Go back and forth a few more times. Nice. And then from here, maybe you walk the hands out together a few inches, feeling long through your whole back, or if you feel comfortable bending the knees, you can sit your hips back towards your heels for a child's pose, extending the arms out, either straight out in front or maybe at an angle like a V. Pause for a moment and notice your breath moving into the back. And then shift forward onto hands and knees. Here, steady yourself a little bit stronger. And by that, I mean maybe push the hands a bit more energetically towards the ground. So your arms are really straight. And then draw the belly in slightly. So you're not rounded nor arched, but you're feeling kind of strong between your shoulders and your hips. And then lift your left leg back behind you. We'll do both sides. So if you switched, that's okay. Balancing table. This is by far one of the best and most sustainable exercises in terms of longevity for your lower back. If you want, you can add the opposite arm, either reaching it forward or out to the side. Check in with your shoulder. Sometimes the variation of the arm out to the side feels best. Nice. Notice what happens when you press into the hand and knee a little bit more. Do you feel stronger? Do you feel wobblier? Beautiful. And then lower the arm and leg on that side, and we'll switch to the other side. So reach your right leg back behind you. Start with the leg, push into the hands. Notice how this feels all the way around the trunk, not just in the low back, but probably also some tightening in the belly. And then maybe add the opposite arm, reaching it forward or out to the side. Check in with that shoulder and notice how this side feels. Nice. When you feel tired on that side, go ahead and lower down and maybe sit back towards child's pose again, or perhaps this time curl the toes under and lift the hips, downward dog. Start to stretch out the back, the legs a little more. Feel free to walk around, bend one knee, press the other heel to the ground. Notice how as you bend and straighten and alternate, your hips move from side to side. You might lean into that a little bit by turning your head underneath your armpit to feel a little bit more sensation down through that side of the low back. Check in and see what feels good. All right, and step your left foot forward and lower your right knee down for a low lunge. So from here, this is where one of those places where blocks can come in handy if you happen to have them. They help your arms get longer. You can do this without them, but start to bend and straighten your left leg. So bending feels like a lunge and straightening feels like a half split where the front leg is straight. Feel free to pad your right knee if it needs a little bit of love. And if that feels good and you want to challenge yourself in a different way, remove the blocks or take your hands up off the ground and start to sweep the arms together with that movement. So it'll feel a little different. You'll be more upright and you'll kind of fold forward with your chest towards the front leg in your half split. Sweep the arms up and bend the knee. Lunge, sweep down and back for the half split. You choose a pace. Notice how it feels. And after a few rounds on that side, switch and set yourself up for the other one. Little tail wag in between if you like, and then step your right foot forward. Start with a simple rocking movement between the lunge and the half split. Excuse me. And then if you like, add the sweep of the arms, and only if it feels good. You can also skip the sweep, but be more upright with your hands on your hips. All right. After a few rounds of that, go ahead and pause, bring the feet together, bring the hands back down in tabletop or child's pose or any other posture where the left and right sides are working together. When you're ready, this is where we're gonna come up higher up off the ground. So it'll feel more like we're standing strong. Take your left foot forward again, but this time come up with the back knee off the ground. Take your hands up to the thigh to walk yourself up to a warrior one lunge. Nice. Hands can be on the hips. You can widen your stance to stabilize. Bend your front leg as much as you like. You can also bend the back leg if that feels better in the low back. Shorter stance will feel different than a longer one. Nice. And then if you like, reach the arms to the sky. Beautiful. From here, start to straighten the front leg. So if the arms up in the air feels a little wobbly to you, bring the hands back down and then bend and straighten the front knee. So very similar, but different because we're up off the ground. Bend and straighten. Now you might get some wobbles here. That's part of strengthening all these little muscles that are involved in this motion. If you want to challenge yourself in a different way, When you straighten the leg, hinge from the hips and lean forward any amount. Anytime the torso is at an angle to the floor, we challenge gravity and the muscles of the belly and the back have to work a little harder. So now it feels maybe more like a pyramid shape. Now, if you want, you can reach for the floor or those blocks, but we're gonna move within this shape, standing up a little taller. I keep using the wall here next to me. So hopefully you have a wall nearby to help you as well. And then you can unhinge, come back up to stand, bend your knee, warrior one. And then this can be your flow. Bend your knee, warrior lunge, straighten and hinge. Come back up to stand, bend your knee, and then straighten the leg and hinge. Now you're probably getting some feelings in your hip. If you want to change it up one more time, add the sweep of the arms. As you bend your knee, reach the hands to the sky. As you straighten, sweep them down and back behind you, letting the torso come to parallel with the floor. And then bend your knees, sweep the arms to the sky, and straighten. Hinge. Try one or two more. Take a break at any point. And when you're ready to switch sides, there's a million ways to do that. You could bring the hands all the way down to the floor and step back for downward dog. It might feel nice to stretch the legs, especially given the work in the hip. Otherwise, step forward to the front of your mat. However you switch sides, safely and comfortably is up to you. So when you're ready, right foot steps forward, make your way up into a warrior one lunge. Adjust your stance to what your comfort level is on this side. So comfort and challenge, right? There's sort of two parts of this continuum. You want to challenge yourself just enough to create some change. So maybe you start here in your warrior one. You could reach the arms to the sky, feeling strong and steady through both legs. Notice any sensation in your low back. Sensation is just a signal. You can tune in, adjust your stance how you like. And then perhaps start that flow on this side by bending and straightening the front leg. On this side, I'm going to keep my arms up in the air. It's challenging me with my balance a little more. It's also challenging my shoulder muscles. You might hear my ankle crack. It's something that I'm working on to strengthen. And then perhaps try the hinge forward. That's where that the back muscles and the torso and the trunk muscles are working harder. Unhinge and bend. Straighten to pyramid, hinge forward in the pyramid variation. Unhinge and bend. Maybe you do that a few times. I'm trying to keep my big toe in the front glued to the floor. Nice. If you want to add the sweep of the arms, either because it feels good or it's fun, then try that. Notice if this side feels wobblier, stronger, fluid, awkward. Welcome all of that. Nice. We're gonna find an ending here. So you can either step forward to the front of your mat, or if you prefer, step back, take downward dog, or perhaps here a forward fold. I'm gonna bend my knees and hinge towards the floor. Hands on blocks, perhaps. What does it feel like to challenge yourself? And then what does it feel like to release? Slowly make your way back up to stand. Now we're gonna change things up slightly here. I'm gonna make sure I have enough room so that when I go forward, I have more of my mat space or my empty space forward. So I'm gonna step closer to the back of my mat. First side, so left foot forward, right foot back, warrior one lunge. Bend your front knee. And maybe with the hands on the thigh, lean forward so you feel a strong angle, a long line of energy from your heel pressing down behind you to your hip, to your shoulders, out through the head. And you can keep the hands on the thigh or reach the hands back towards the foot. If you want to challenge your trunk muscles and your shoulders even more, reach the hands away from you in that same long line towards this, where the wall and ceiling meet. Nice. This is a strong shape, so you might be feeling enough feelings or take a break right here. If you want to play with balance, shift forward and lift the right foot, that back foot, off of the floor. And then maybe you land in your starting position again. And then lift like you're taking off, and then lower. If you have your arms overhead, it's going to be more challenging. So maybe for the moment, you take your hands down to your hips. And if you feel like pausing in what we call flying warrior or warrior three, balance on your left leg, kick your right leg strong behind you. Hands can be at hips or flying like airplane arms. For most heat, you're going to reach the arms straight out in front. Oh, I'm feeling some feelings. When you feel done, land your airplane, come back to your starting position, step forward, or if you really like to go through downward dog, give yourself that. When you're ready, we'll switch sides. So now left foot back, right foot forward, bend the right knee. Find your bearings here. Start small, lean forward, hold on to the thigh if you like. This already challenges those muscles at the low back. Remember, that angle of the torso is what makes that possible. If you want, reach your hands towards your heel behind you, creating that strong line of energy from your left heel up to your hips, to your shoulders, to your head. Nice. For a bigger challenge, reach the arms straight up overhead. Nice. And then play with lifting your back foot, the left foot. Maybe it's just a smidge. Change up the arms as you like. And then maybe you fly forward. Lift the left leg any amount off the floor. It's totally fine to stay close to the ground. All of this is going to strengthen this midsection and the lower back. Option to reach the arms straight out in front, even just for a few seconds. Nice. Then bend your standing leg. Whew. Land your airplane. Come on up to stand. Oh. And I like a forward fold after all of that. But since we did one already with the legs close together, I'm going to widen my stance. It's totally up to you. Maybe you take the hands to the thighs. Maybe you bring the hands closer to the floor. Legs can stay bent any amount. And there's option to move inside of this shape too. Maybe you sweep, painting the floor with your fingertips. Nice. From your forward fold, bend your knees enough so you can rest your hands up on your thighs. So coming up about halfway. I'm going to keep my legs wide. You can take them as wide as you like. And then keep one hand down and sweep the other hand to the sky. So a bit of a twist might feel good for the side body. And then try the other side. You could also bring your elbow down on your thigh. The angle will change how things feel. Or if you prefer, legs straight, hand down on the floor. If you have a block nearby, rest it on the block. Couple of twists, actively reaching to one side and then to the other. So lots of options, and you can explore all of them a few times. Nice. When you're ready, find an ending for that. Steady your hands closer to the floor so you can help yourself down to the ground. And then find a restful shape, maybe simply resting your head on the block or on your hands close to the floor. Or child's pose, curling into yourself. Can you feel your breath moving into your back body, creating space? And then slide forward onto your belly. Oh, yeah. Oh, and if you can, have those blocks nearby. If you have blocks, just have them somewhere within reach, probably kind of out into the front so they're out of your way otherwise. Take a moment, acknowledge what it feels like to be down close to the ground. I'm going to shift my mat slightly. The carpet makes it slide. All right, when you're ready, keep your hands underneath your forehead, but straighten your legs behind you so you can really feel the bones on the top of your feet connect with the ground. That might mean that your kneecaps kind of lift away, right? So when you're relaxed, your knees are on the ground, but when you straighten your legs here, the tops of your feet stay on the floor, but the kneecaps lift. And then from here, start to lift your head up any amount. Now, what to do with your arms? If that feels like it's enough for you, you can stay right here and then come back down. Keep the legs active and then lift and lower a few times. If you'd rather, you can bring your hands down by your sides, palms facing in towards you. And then as you lift your head for Cobra pose, your fingertips can reach back towards your feet and then lower back down. Keep your legs strong and straight. And lift and lower a few more times here. If you like, take a break. If you're feeling good, lift and hold. And then play with moving your arms out to the side and come forward towards the space in front of your head, or maybe not, and sweep them back behind you again. So you're making like an upside down snow angel with your arms, sweeping. Now, this is where those blocks, if you wanted an extra challenge, would add some weight to your shoulders. If you grab the blocks or books or whatever you have, oh, now I'm feeling some really deep feeling. Remember, take a break at any point. You can join again. Oh, relax down. Notice the heartbeat. I can almost feel it in my legs and hips. You've got a big femoral artery down there, so maybe that's why. All right, if you want to try one more round, remember lots of options. You can start small or come back to very small movement. Small is powerful, so there's nothing wrong with that. You can lift and hold, cobra variation. Maybe bring the hands back behind you by your hips, or start to sweep the arms out to the sides. If keeping them straight is too challenging, especially after one round, bend the elbows. So it feels like you're doing the TSA move, going through that machine. Or grab your blocks, add the challenge of a little bit of weight. Try to keep your legs strong towards the ground behind you. And then when you've had enough, rest down. From here, look to your right and slide your right knee out to the side. Some of you sleep like this, so it might be very familiar. Notice how this hopefully gives a little break to the low back muscles, letting them rest. And then reach your left arm, so your opposite arm, straight out towards your head. Push into the floor with your other hand and roll yourself into a roly-poly twist where you can take your right arm out and away to the other side, twisting. And then slowly roll back onto your belly. Oh, reluctantly switch sides. Oh, but when you get there, it feels good. I call this lazy lizard, kicking the knee out to the side of the belly close to the ground. Rest here for a few moments. And then take your right arm out of the way so you can roly-poly twist to the other side. Turn onto your right side, reach your left arm out and away. It doesn't have to look like anything except for feeling good. Right. When you're complete with that, roll back onto your belly, press your way up to tabletop and curl into a cat back. Ooh. Escort yourself down to a comfortable seat. This is where I recommend the strap. If you have one nearby, you can also use a scarf or nothing at all, but loop it around your right foot. Grab it with both hands. Take your left knee out to the side. So you're in a single leg forward fold, kind of similar to what we started with, but here we have a strap. You can wrap the strap around your hands a few times, especially as you fold forward, you might do that. And what I like about this strap is it gives me something to hold on to, not because I'm pulling myself towards my foot, but it allows me to grab onto something that's not my foot and not the floor and kind of close the loop in this forward fold posture. It's also a nice way to, if you don't want to fold, but you want to stay upright, you can connect the foot and the hands. Take a few moments here. And then unfold yourself. Switch sides. So bring the other leg, the left leg, straight forward into the strap if you have it. Bend your right knee out to the side and decide if you want to stay up tall for a moment. If you'd like to fold, try that. Remember, you can wrap the hands or the strap around the hands. And then make your way back out. Straighten both legs now. Maybe having strap around the bottoms of both feet. And this is where I really like the strap, because anytime we fold with one leg, it's one experience, but with both legs, it tends to be a little bit more intense of an experience for me. So grabbing the strap or the floor or the legs. And unfold yourself. You can release the strap and place it off to the side. Lean back onto your hands, and like we did at the beginning, perhaps roll the knees from left to right a few times. And then just like we started, let your knees fall to one side, walk your hands around to the back. Notice how this feels now. And notice if there's more space for you to come closer to the ground. And if you don't desire that, don't do it. Some of you may even bring your forehead down to the floor or to your hands. Take a few moments and notice where you feel your breath in your body. And when you feel ready for the other side, walk yourself up and around. Let the knees fall to the other side. Walk the hands around behind you. Take this twist in that direction now. Feel free to pause on the hands. Maybe that's what feels good. Or lower any amount towards the floor. As you're ready, unwind. And perhaps here with the feet flat in front, hands still behind you, take a gentle lift into upward table. You don't have to go all the way up. Maybe just lift the bum. I like this because it feels like it's knitting my pelvis and my left and right sides back together, doing something active here. And then decide how you want to end. If you want to sit up next to a wall, this is lately how I've been enjoying relaxation. It's very different than lying down. If you'd rather lie down, set yourself up. Squeeze the knees in, maybe roll around from side to side. And then feel free to rest and take up space on the ground. If it feels good, connect the hands to the body and check back in with yourself here. Rest a few moments. Be gentle with yourself. As you awaken, maybe you feel your breath moving deeper or differently. Maybe there's an urge to stretch or move or yawn. And ease your way into transitioning into whatever is next. Give yourself as much time here as you can. And I'm so grateful for your presence and your practice. I hope you feel a little taller and a little stronger when you return to standing. Take your time getting there. And if you enjoyed this and you're watching the recording, don't forget to like it. There's a little heart on the side. And that way you'll find it again in your favorites much more easily next time.